I'm seeing a lot of knee-jerk reactions to people like Keith Woods and others who have kind of come in from the left and are now engaging in the online political right. I think people like Woods should be welcomed more than anything in terms of what they bring to the idea structure of the political right. The left has always been ahead of the right in terms of its critiques on globalization and the spread of capitalism. And of course, this has always been a difficult question for people on the right. Naturally, there's always been a tension between neoliberalism and conservatism. And rightly so, because neoliberalism fundamentally is antithetical to the conservative position and the conservative mind. People who love Margaret Thatcher and the work of the Tories in the 1980s are generally very foolish because they think now that that is conservatism. But it's nothing of the sort. It is a form of destructive neoliberalism. And the Conservative Party itself from there on in has been defined by its neoliberalism. And certainly since the Blair years, which really was a derivative, a kind of a more friendly-faced derivative of the 80s Tories, we had effectively two wings of the same neoliberal establishment in the United Kingdom competing for power, or indeed the vain image of power that is brought to the mass within the United Kingdom. So I think Woods is very important in terms of reminding us that it's not just about the left per se, or indeed the right. We should stop thinking of ideas as left-wing ideas or right-wing ideas. I think we should think of ideas in the Stirnerian sense, in that ideas are useful, and we should pick and choose which ideas work for us and which ideas do not work for us. It's really quite as simple as that. I think it's important that we drop this binary, because otherwise, if we don't, we simply stop ourselves from engaging with thought that really would help us and expand our critique of the incumbent civilization and the incumbent paradigm. I think we blindsided ourselves for the most part, particularly on the right, by not picking up some of the very powerful tools that people on the left have developed over the past 100, 150 years or so. Neoliberalism and its project of globalization is fundamentally antithetical to conservatism and to nationalism. That is obvious. Nations, ethnicities, religions, cultures, all types of differences create borders, and borders are antithetical to capital. Capital is the only thing that global capitalism cares about. That's why it doesn't care about our history. That's why it endorses the kinds of phenomena that we're seeing right now. There are many on the right who are totally perplexed why corporations like Nike or Apple would endorse radically violent movements such as the BLM/Antifa actions. Why would these global corporations who supposedly are capitalistic, who favour things like order and the global system, why would they endorse supposedly anti-capitalistic rhetoric and actions against people and property? Well, that's because these movements are undermining our history. They undermine everything which brings up borders. And borders, as I said, are antithetical to capitalism. The spice must flow, and the spice cannot flow so long as there are some borders. There is friction. Part of the debate around Brexit, especially coming from Remainers, was the question to the right on whether there would be frictionless trade. Because, of course, as soon as you put up a border, you have some kind of friction. You have border checks. You have a differentiation in the way that you conduct your business because you are a separate, quote-unquote, sovereign nation. And this is something that global capital and globalization hates. It doesn't want this difference. It wants the spice to flow. It wants capital to be here, there, and everywhere. It wants the ubiquity of its system. It demands obedience. It is truly totalitarianism. Neoliberalism colonizes everything it enters, and it disrupts and destroys everything, whether it's culture, whether it's the values that brought us together as a nation of people. Again, it doesn't care about you any more than what you represent to the system itself. Are you some kind of economic unit, or are you a human being? This is the choice you must make in this system. If you are a nationalist, if you believe in yourself, your people, your family, your culture, and everything else, then you are a nationalist. If you are not, then by all means, continue to support the destruction of our country, of our civilization, by the forces of neoliberalism.